Welcome back to the Heartland. It's been 2 months since a planned neo-Nazi rally in Toledo, Ohio turned into a 4-hour riot. Today, the hate group was back protesting the way the police in the city handled the confrontation in October. David Lee Miller is in Toledo with the latest. David?
John, there was fear today that this neo-Nazi demonstration was, in fact, going to spark another riot, but the day ended here without any violence. But we should point out that some 29 anti-Nazi demonstrators were arrested, all for misdemeanors, charges such as disorderly conduct. And while the demonstrators say that they were protesting the Nazis and their message of hate, many were also angry at the cops here for providing the Nazis with protection.
It's an outrage that the city of Toledo has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to accommodate a racist lynch mob like the Nazis, and at the same time has tried to silence our opposition to them.
Now, 700 police were on duty, with officers coming from Michigan and other parts of Ohio. Authorities were fearful that there might be a repeat of what happened here 2 months ago. At that time, a threatened Nazi march did turn into a riot. This time, those city officials got a court order requiring that the neo-Nazis, as well as the demonstrators, to be confined to a secure 2-block area of downtown Toledo. Officials from law enforcement say, from their perspective, this day was a success. They not only prevented violence, but they protected free speech, no matter how despicable the message.
The price of freedom is not free, and what these law enforcement officers did today was to protect our most basic freedom, freedom of speech.
Another thing to consider, John, is the weather today. It is bone-chilling cold, and it is believed that possibly a number of troublemakers on both sides decided to stay home because of the freezing temperatures. Back to you.
All right, David, thank you. It sounds like it was a perfect day to let people like that out protesting. It's too bad it wasn't 50 below zero. So how does a person become indoctrinated by the hateful words and actions endorsed by groups like these neo-Nazis? Where former white supremacist Floyd Cochran joins me now from State College. Mr. Cochran, how does anybody get involved where you run around saying we ought to kill blacks and Jews? And I mean, how did you ever get involved with this?
Well, like many people, I became involved with the racist movement when I was 13 and 14 years old. But unfortunately, the Klan and the hate group, neo-Nazis, make themselves available to young people. And I became involved as a 13, 14-year-old and sort of grew into that hate. I didn't learn to hate people overnight. I wasn't born a bigot. It was something that was taught to me both by society and also organized neo-Nazis.
Mr. Cochran, what is the basic philosophy of these groups? What do they try to indoctrinate you with?
Well, the basic philosophy is that white people and white people only are superior to everyone else, and that America is somehow a promised land for white people and white people only, that people of color and Jewish people should be exterminated if they're allowed to live at all.
How did you get out of this group? How did you finally turn away from it?
Well, I left in 1992 in part because I was told that my son, who was born with a cleft palate, would have to be euthanized because he was a genetic defect. It turned a light on me inside. How on one hand was it wrong to advocate killing my son, but it was okay for me to advocate killing people who were born different than myself. Now, I don't want to tell you or your listeners that somehow I went to bed one day as a neo-Nazi and I woke up the next day wanting to hold hands and sing Kumbaya. I've worked real hard over the last 13 years to challenge the racist ideas that I had, and I've worked real hard to also to give back to communities part of that hatred that I had once possessed.
Well, Mr. Cochran, how dangerous are these people?
Well, you know, they're dangerous in that their ability to inspire people to go out and to commit crimes. Are neo-Nazis or the Ku Klux Klan going to become a mass movement and take over America that way? No.
No, but will they kill? Will they
yes.
bring? They
yes.
will.
In fact, I can think back not too many years ago in Ohio, white supremacists were involved in a shootout with local law enforcement. And, you know, the idea of white supremacists in Ohio and in my state of Pennsylvania is not a new phenomenon. Back in 1994, I was in Toledo working with various civic organizations because the Klan was coming to Toledo back in 1994. So these groups are out there. Their ability to motivate people to go out and commit crimes, that's what makes them dangerous.
All right, Mr. Cochran, we're going to have to leave it there. I want to thank you for your courage in speaking up and speaking out, and I hope you're safe. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Next, could Uncle Sam come to your town and seize your home?